Another federal case involving fraud and conspiracy is just getting underway at the Moakley Courthouse. Yesterday, the co-owners of Marlborough-based Telex were indicted. James Merrill and Carlos Wanzeler are accused of defrauding investors in their company of $1 billion in an elaborate pyramid scheme. Both maintain their innocence. Of course, the pyramid scheme was made famous right here in Massachusetts by our own Charles Ponzi, and there's a living testament to the success of his fraud in Lexington. Here to explain is Edgar B. Herwick III of our Curiosity Desk. So just to refresh everybody's memory, Charles Ponzi.
Well, right. So it's the Ponzi scheme, which everybody knows, right? But I don't know that as many people realize that there was this man, Charles Ponzi. He was an Italian immigrant. He came to the Boston area in about 1917, and in late 1919 he started this Ponzi scheme. There he is. There's the man himself. I love this picture. He's looking at his wife. She seems to love him. His mother does not seem very happy about his wife there. But that's him, and he was, by all accounts, like a very charismatic, charming guy. And he had this idea around postage stamps, right? That he was buying from different countries in Europe, in theory. And the idea was that he would be able to earn enough money that he would double people's investment in 90 days. Of course, it turned out that that was not solvent. He couldn't do that. And it became a classic robbing Peter to pay Paul.
And the interesting thing about Ponzi schemes is they work for a while.
For a while, absolutely.
For a while, they absolutely do. So it's this one in Marlborough did too. So what's it got to do with Lexington?
So when he was here, he bought this estate during his brief rise before his fall in Lexington. And it turns out, Emily, that his former estate is on the market right now.
Oh.
So you can buy Charles Ponzi's former estate if you've got $3.3 million. So I went out there today and I shot some video. And this is it. It's a stucco mansion. That's the side of the house. And there was an addition put on in 1990. This is the carriage house, which is also beautiful. And inside there's a kitchen and a bedroom in the carriage house. So it's sort of this standalone house on the side there. It's this amazing estate.
Did you get to go inside? What's inside?
I did get to go inside.
You didn't.
And I took some video inside.
You're kidding me? Really?
We got inside. We got inside. So check it out.
Gosh.
So this is like sort of the parlor right here. And you're sort of getting a sweeping view here of the parlor. A lot of this stuff, the decorations, the furniture, not original, but the stuff on the walls, like in terms of the look of it, these are original.
Beautiful.
For example, those lights, those were there when Ponzi would sit in that room. It's a beautiful staircase right where you walk in. Those are the stairs. They go up to an upstairs where his bedroom was. Okay, well, you can change the rug if you buy the place, Emily. But yeah, it's like this unbelievable place inside.
What's the square footage, you have any idea?
I'm not sure what the total square footage is, but like I said, there's also a modern edition that's been put on. From the outside, you wouldn't be able to really tell where the modern begins and the old sort of starts. But you can sort of live comfortably there modern now too. But there's still this other stuff inside. These like cool. There's so many rooms. This was his study. So this is like where the scheme was being hatched out there in Lexington. This is a dining room, huge dining table, which can seat 20 comfortably in this dining room, they said. And then my favorite thing here, this was like the butler's area. That sink right there is original. It's the zinc sink. And there are like these little pock marks and scratches in it, which are like from years and years of use. So you imagine like Charles Ponzi's butler was in there like trying to break ice or whatever, because I'm sure Ponzi needed a drink from time to time because things were getting crazy for him.
So what got you interested in this? How did you?
Well, so I do these pieces for radio each week, this week in Massachusetts history. And it's interesting, Emily, this week, today in fact, marks the anniversary in 1920 that the Boston Post, who was the biggest newspaper in Boston at the time in 1920, wrote their first article about Charles Ponzi, right? So his offices were right around the corner from where the post offices were. And there were crowds outside of his office. And finally, the editors there said, somebody go down there and see what's going on with this guy. And they wrote a story, just a straight news story. But after that story, the crowd started to swell. People had heard more about Ponzi, and the Post were like, we got to do our due diligence here. And I got a story on radio tomorrow all about what happens afterwards. And really, the Post and their sort of dogged following of this story is really what brought him down.
Did he end up going to jail? I can't remember. I did read Mitch Zucker's book, but I can't remember.
Yeah, he went to jail, and then ultimately he gets deported. He goes back to Italy, makes his way to South America, and he dies penniless in Brazil in like a convent where he'd been being taken care of by nuns.
Wow. Great story. All right, that's really interesting. What does it have? 3.5 million?
$3.3 million.
Okay.
If you're interested, if you are interested, if you have the money.
All right. Edgar, thanks so much.